Greetings, one and all, and welcome to episode number 40. We've made it to 40 episodes. Thoughts and hunches, making money in bunches, and sucker punches. Your boy Stoney is back for the 40th time, and I want to welcome all of my favorite lowlifes, hoodlums, scumbags, hustlers, fienders, degenerates. You're all back for season 2, episode number 7, because you can't get enough. Dropped another winning week on you last week. 56%, not great, but definitely profitable. And again, all free picks. This is content that you're getting for free. Nobody else gives you this much content for free on a weekly basis. Let's run over some numbers real quick. Last week, Ncaa 8-5. That's solid. I will take that every single week. Moved our season record up to 50-42 in college football. We're now 54.35. And that's still saying something after the first 2 weeks we had, which were just miserable. But we've now had 4 consecutive winning weeks in college football. So we're starting to get our act together. NFL, another 6-6, right down the middle. We lost juice. We got juiced to death. But we're 36-23 in NFL because of our hot start. 61%. That's nothing to sneeze at. So it was 14-11 on the week. That's 56%. We'll take that. We're now up to 86-65 on the season. That's just a shade under 57% for the season. 58 is what we're shooting for. 58 is what we'll get to. And these things are going to start right now. Forgive me for taking a peek over here. I'm watching game 1 of the ALCS, Boston and Houston. Stros are up in the bottom of the second, 1-0. I'll come back to that. Anyway, speaking of baseball, that's my topic for tonight. I could sit here and bore you with John Gruden details. No, but real quickly, I will. Mark Davis. Everybody hates Mark Davis. I don't know a soul in the world who likes Mark Davis, except for John Gruden. Had the greatest quote of all time. When they asked him, would you care to comment on John Gruden and everything that had happened? He said, I have no comment. Ask the NFL. They seem to have all the answers. Good for you, Mark Davis. There's 650,000 emails that have been unread. What else is the NFL hiding? Who cares? Who cares? Everybody wants to just take people down. Doesn't matter. Leave it alone. Let it die. All right? We all know what Gruden did. Gruden's gone. So he's gone. He's out of the picture. Anyway, forget about it. I'm so tired of that story. Anyway, what I want to talk about was last night's Game 5 of the NLCS. Giants-Dodgers. Yes, my Giants lost. Dodgers won. This was baseball in its best form. That was one of the best games I've ever seen. Sit here and watch these American League playoff games, 12-8, 14-6. Those are football games, not baseball games, right? Where's the pitching, Dusty? Where's the pitching, Alex? Where's the pitching, Tony, who's gone because he had no pitching? Where's the pitching, Kevin? No, he's gone too. 100 wins. He's gone because he had no pitching. Giants-Dodgers showed the world what it's like. Braves too. Braves did it when they won their series, and they did it with dominant pitching. Giants-Dodgers did not flinch. Neither one of them. They just kept going, and they were, after a season of playing neck and neck all season long, they were 1-1 in the 9th in the deciding game. They could have played best of 7, best of 9, best of 11, or best of 13, and they still would have come down to the final game in the 9th inning with the score tied. Give me that every single day. Obviously, whoever won that game was going to be the favorite to win the World Series. Remember, the best team doesn't always win the World Series. The hottest team wins the World Series. Since there was no World Series last year, yeah, I said it, Dodger fan, there was no World Series last year. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not the Dodgers or the Braves, who have the 2 best pitching staffs going, can hold on against the sluggers of the American League and the Red Sox and the Astros. Pitching. It's pitching dominated. I enjoyed that game so much last night. I probably would have enjoyed it more if I wasn't a fan rooting for my team, but hey, that was baseball in its purest form. Screw the DH. Forget about it. We don't want the DH. The DH, keep the DH in the American League, the junior circuit, because that's what it is, right? Keep it there and let them keep posting all these runs and hiring guys who can show up to practice and you don't need to bring your glove. I don't understand it. I never will. If you play, you got to hit, period. Doesn't matter whether you can hit or not. You got to hit if you're on the field. Anyway, here we go. That's it for me. We're going to move on, and we're going to start off with our NCAA picks for the week. Tomorrow, Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time in Columbia, Missouri. 21st ranked Texas A&M heads on to take on Mizzou as 9-point favorites. Saturdays in the South. Yep, SEC football. Saturdays in the South mean the 3 Fs. Family, faith, and football. It's what they do in the South. It's a beautiful thing. Anyway, Texas A&M comes in 4-2. They're coming in off of a big win over Alabama last week in Jimbo Fisher's dream game, which is what he always wanted, to beat Nick Saban, his former boss, right? But they haven't beaten anybody else. Yeah, they beat Bama and they did it very impressively, and I give them all the props in the world. But the spread's a little inflated because no overreaction is what football is all about. From week to week, overreaction. You're going to hear that as a theme in every single one of my picks. I like Mizzou +9 at home. They're 3-3. They haven't really beaten anybody, but take away Alabama, and neither is Texas A&M. Texas A&M, they're ranked 21st now, only on the strength of a win over Alabama. But they have 2 losses. They started the season the top 10, and they fell off real quick. Anyway, take Mizzou +9 at home. Home dog. 12 p.m. Eastern Time, Minnesota, Nebraska in Stoneapolis, Minnesota. Minnie and Nebraska, the total is 48. That's what we're going to concentrate on right now. Minnesota has the fewest pass attempts than any non-option team in the entire FBS, right? They're down to their 3rd-string tailback also, right? Nebraska just lost a heartbreaker to Michigan last week, and now they got a noon start in Minnesota, in Stoneapolis. This game has underwritten all over it. We're going to take the under 48, Minnesota, Nebraska. Moving on, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC football in Fayetteville, Arkansas. The 17th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks -4 against Auburn. Auburn comes in. They're 4-2. Their losses were to Penn State and Georgia. Nothing wrong with either one of those. Georgia's now the number 1 team in the country, and Penn State is still top 10. Penn State's no joke. Penn State's a really, really good football team. Auburn seems to win whenever they're supposed to, but they never beat anybody that they're not supposed to. Never. Just doesn't happen, right? Arkansas's 4-point chalk. They're 4-2 also, just like Auburn. Their losses were to Georgia and Ole Miss. Obviously, no harm in either one of those. And especially last week, that crazy game to Ole Miss. That game was just insane, where they went for 2 at the end and they didn't get it after tying it on the last play of the game with 1 second left. Diving catch in the outfield by Boston to end the Astros' threat in the second. That was pretty incredible. Anyway, I like Arkansas -4 at home. Lay the 4, take the Hogs. Boom. Moving on, staying in the SEC. This one is down in Stony Rouge, Louisiana. Florida versus LSU. Florida comes in ranked 20th. They're 12-point favorites against LSU. Florida's 4-2, right? They have a loss to Alabama and they have a loss to Kentucky. Sorry, didn't know what was happening there. I thought I'd lost my video, but no, we're good. We're still rolling. Anyway, Florida's 4-2. They lost to Alabama and they lost to Kentucky, right? No harm in either one of those. Both those teams are undefeated, right? They're an offense-driven team. Emory Jones has been unbelievable, running, passing, everything, the whole thing. LSU's 3-3, all right? They have losses to Kentucky, Auburn, and who else? UCLA. My UCLA Bruins. That's right. They beat the Tigers, right? LSU hasn't beaten anybody. Their best win was against Mississippi State. Okay, fine. Mississippi State ain't bad, but they certainly ain't that good. Are we going to take the Tigers this week? No Tigers. No Tigers. Gator chomp. Gator bait. Take the Gators. Lay the 12. Moving on, 12 p.m. Eastern time, we move to the Big 12 in Austin. 25th ranked Texas is at home as 4-point chalk against 12th ranked Oklahoma State. Texas is 4-2, right? They're ranked 25th. They have losses to Oklahoma and Arkansas. There's no problem in either one of those losses. The only problem is they lost last week in the Red River Shootout to Oklahoma, and where they just completely collapsed and blew the big lead, and that just killed them. That absolutely killed them. Can they bounce back and keep posting these big numbers? I mean, both teams scored in the 50s last week in the Red River Shootout. That's just, or it was 55-48. Just insane, right? Can Texas continue that? They hung 70 on Texas Tech a couple weeks ago, right? Oklahoma State's 5-0, right? The last 3 wins were against Boise, Kansas State, and Baylor. 3 good teams. Not bad teams, but 3 pretty good teams. Oklahoma State has a knack of winning ugly. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win this game, but all of their games seem to be ugly, which is why they're ranked 12th at 5-0. They should be up higher, but they're not. They're 5-0. They're ranked 12th because they win ugly. Had they won a couple and got more style points, they might have a higher ranking. But right now they don't. They're stuck at 12th. They keep winning ugly. I'm going to take the 4 on the road for the Cowpokes and watch them cover, possibly win, but it doesn't matter. I'll take the 4 anyway. Texas wins by a field goal. 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, Blacksburg, Virginia. Pitt comes in -5 to take on Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's 3-2, right? Their offense right now is just not clicking. They're struggling. They're having issues, and the more they continue to struggle, they're going to have issues moving on. Their defense is always good. They're coming off of a tough loss last week to Notre Dame. Pitt, on the other hand, is 4-1, right? They're coming off a bye, and here's the kicker. They're 10-3 against the spread as road chalk under Pat Narduzzi, right? Pitt has a tendency of covering those numbers while on the road. So we're going to take Pitt, and we're going to lay the 5. Moving on, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, Iowa City, Iowa, the second-ranked, yes, I said second-ranked Iowa Hawkeyes are 11.5-point chalk to the Boilermakers of Purdue. Iowa's 6-0. Right? They got wins over Iowa State, Penn State. Penn State last week, that was the big one. Somebody just went deep. And it is tied. Kike Hernandez just hit a bomb. It's 1-1 top 3, Boston. And he's just, you want to make money, just bet the over in every single American League game. It's just stupid. This game's going to be 10-8. I don't even know what the total is. Just bet the over. It's crazy. And especially playing in 2 bandboxes. Fenway Park and the Juice Bar or Minute Maid Park down at Houston. Crazy. Pop fly to shortstop. Oh, it's a 3-run homer. Anyway, getting back. Purdue and Iowa. Right, Iowa's 6-0. Wins over Iowa State and Penn State last week. Very impressive defense. They came from behind to win that Penn State game, and Iowa is very good. Very good. Kirk Ferentz is doing a great job as usual. He always does. This game's at home, which is why the big number, 11.5. But again, possibly an overreaction after the big win over Penn State. Purdue's not a bad team. They're 3-2. They lost to Minnesota, and they lost to Notre Dame, right? But Purdue sticks with teams, and they really don't get blown out very often. I'm going to take the 11.5. I'm going to take the Boilermakers on the road in Iowa while everybody else is still Oh, Iowa won last week and they beat Penn State and they're number 2. They're going to see that 2 next to their name and they're going to lay the 11.5. I'll take the Boilermakers. Back to the SEC, 3:30 p.m. in Athens. The number 1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Yes, number 1 in the country. Between the hedges, Kentucky comes in ranked 11th. Kentucky and Georgia both 6-0. 2 undefeated teams in the SEC meeting between the hedges. The problem here is the big number. Georgia's 21.5 point chalk. What do you do? Right now, America doesn't seem to have much faith in Georgia. They also see the number 11 next to Kentucky. They see the 6-0. The last 2 weeks, they had an impressive win over Florida and a win over LSU. Wait a minute, they beat LSU. That's not very impressive. Beating LSU is what teams are supposed to do nowadays because Ed Orgeron's going to get fired. We know that's coming. Anyway, Kentucky's nice. Will Levis, the quarterback, is playing well. I really like him, but 21.5 and that defense, Georgia right now, Will Levis doesn't know what he's up against. The last 2 weeks, Georgia's beat Arkansas and Auburn. They're clicking right now. They're number 1. The fans are going to be, this is the first time they've been number 1 in a minute. They're going to be fired up. They're going to be at home. Take Georgia, lay the 21.5 while everyone else is taking Kentucky. 3:30 p.m. We move on to, this is a good matchup right here. Waco, Texas. Baylor comes in, or Baylor's 6.5 point favorites at home against 19th ranked BYU. BYU is scheduling these schools from out of conference because they want to improve their resume. Last week they lost to Boise State. And here's the thing. They fumbled 3 times against Boise State last week. Those are the only 3 fumbles all year that BYU had, right? And that's why they lost. That's the only reason they lost. Baylor's 5-1. Their only loss was to Oklahoma State. But, who've they beaten? They beat West Virginia and Iowa State. Okay. And they're 6.5 point chalk? No, I'll take the Cougs. I'll take BYU plus 6.5 on the road. 7 p.m. Eastern time, back to the SEC. Starkville, Mississippi. Get your cowbells out. 5th ranked Alabama. Yeah, I said 5th ranked Alabama comes in as 17 point chalk against Mississippi State. Mississippi State's 3-2. They have losses to Memphis and LSU. Oh, they lost to LSU. How the hell do you lose to LSU? Nobody's supposed to lose to LSU. Nobody. I just don't understand it. But anyway, they have losses to Memphis and LSU. Alabama, their only loss was last week to A&M. We all saw it. We all know this is not a good spot for Mike Leach to be in. I like Mike Leach. I'm a fan of his, but he's in trouble because this is an angry, bitter Alabama team that Nick Saban is just going to be looking for style points for every week from now up until the SEC championship, which will be inevitable when they take on Georgia. So I'm going to take Bama. I'm going to lay the 17. 7:30 p.m. Knoxville, Tennessee, about 3 hours to the east from here. The return of Lane Kiffin to Knoxville as 13th ranked Ole Miss comes in to take on the Vols, who Josh Heupel has scoring, and they're one of the surprises of football this year. Well, we don't know what the number is. We don't care what the number is. The number is 82. That's the total. It opened at 78.5. It's been bet all the way up to 82. But again, it's overreaction. Last 2 weeks, Tennessee has scored 100 points. Yeah, 100 points. Last week, Ole Miss hung 52 on Arkansas, and they gave up, or on Mississippi. Excuse me. Yeah. Ole Miss hung 52 on Arkansas, but they gave up 51. Not much defense, so that's what everybody's seeing. Everything's overinflated. We're going to take the under. 82, 41-41. Nope, sorry, this game's staying under. Who cares who wins? Under 82. 8:30 p.m., UCLA versus Washington. UCLA heads up to Seatown to take on the Huskies. The Huskies are 1.5 point favorite. This game's got trap written all over it. Washington's 2-3. They have losses to Oregon State, Michigan, and Montana. Yeah. Ouch. UCLA, on the other hand, 4-2, 2 losses. Both ranked teams, Fresno, Arizona State. They do have wins over LSU. Oh, shit, a win over LSU is not that impressive. But my team did beat LSU, and I just want to keep pointing that out. They beat LSU and beat them pretty well too, and they also have wins last couple weeks over Stanford and Arizona. Now there's errors. There's no defense. Now the run scores 2-1 Boston. This is incredible. They don't play defense and they don't pitch in the American League. Forget about it. Anyway, I like the Bruins plus 1.5 on the road. It looks like a trap, but I'm going to play right into it and take the Bruins to win outright. 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Rice-Eccles Stadium, Stony Lake City, Utah. Yeah, Stony Lake City, Utah, Rice-Eccles Stadium. Utah versus Arizona State. The Sun Devils come in ranked 18th. Utah's a 1-point favorite over the 18th ranked Sun Devils. The Devils are 5-1, and they have wins over Stanford and UCLA, and their only loss was the BYU. So I give ASU credit for beating everybody that's in front of him. Utah, on the other hand, 3-2, started out sluggish, right? But they lost to BYU and to San Diego State, right? Now you look at those losses, and those are two ranked teams that they've lost to, right? The last 2 weeks, they've had blowout wins over Washington State and USC. They're starting to get their groove back. I like Utah in this spot. They can trip up Arizona State because what happens in the Pac-12? Everybody always beats everybody. And that's why the Pac-12 can't get an undefeated team into the college football playoffs, because most teams will have 2 or 3 losses, right? But the best teams will have 1 loss. Anyway, doesn't matter. Arizona State will get their second loss hung on them as Utah covers at -1. Finally, the last game on the board tomorrow night, Saturday night, the Degenerate Special. That's right. You love them, right? Donnie-O, Cam, you guys love the Degenerate Special. This is what it's all about. On a mini roll. 2 weeks in a row now, we've hit the Degenerate Special. One more constitutes a trend, right? We're now 2-3 on these. So let's get it back to even and keep on rolling. 10:30 p.m. tomorrow night in Reno, Nevada. The biggest little Stony in the world. Reno, Nevada. I've been there many, many, many a time, right, Cruz? Oh, yeah. Anyway, Nevada, Reno, -14.5 against Hawaii. That's right. Hawaii seems to always be in these Degenerate Specials because of the late starts. Hawaii's 3-3. The last 2 weeks, they have wins over New Mexico State, shitty, and a very impressive win over Fresno, which we had 2 weeks ago. On the other hand, you've got Nevada, who's 4-1, and their only loss was to Kansas State. And they led Kansas State in the fourth quarter before turnovers and all hell broke loose. And K-State got 3 touchdowns in the final 4 minutes to win that game going away. But I like Nevada. You get Hawaii on the mainland. They're not the same team. I'm going to lay the 14.5 and take the Wolfpack. So there's your 14 NCAA plays. 8-6 is a winning week. 9-5 is a hell of a lot better. So that's what we're going to shoot for in the NCAAs. We move on to Sunday, NFL. It starts again in London. That's right, where those savage English Brits. Oh, look at that. Another run scores, 3-1. Third inning, 4 runs scored. Right, Renfro with a double. Runs are just scoring. All hell's breaking loose. Rafael Devers. Framber Valdez is getting lit up. Framber Valdez. This is just, I could sit here and watch this and just tell you another run scored, another run scored, another run scored. Welcome to American League Baseball. There's a long way to go, and they're already at 4 runs. Anyway, Jacksonville versus Miami in front of those savage Englanders in London. Yeah, why are they savages? Well, my family's from Northern Ireland. I have every single right to hate the English and the British and the UK, whatever you want to call those people. Anyway, London trying to get a football team. They've kind of adopted Jacksonville as their kind of de facto home team. Jacksonville is 3-point dogs at 0-5 against the 1-4 Miami Dolphins. Boy, man, 2 teams combined for 1-9. This should be a dandy. Way to go, NFL. So you want to wake up early to bet on this, you're better off doing it Saturday because you don't want to wake up early to watch this. This is going to be Snooze Fest USA. Miami's 1-4. Tua Tagovailoa is back. He's going to be playing. They're 3-point chalk. I'm taking Jacksonville. Jacksonville may win this game. It's possible. They're slowly but surely, they are starting to improve. If Urban Meyer can get out of his own way, Jacksonville could win. This could be their best chance to win because Miami's so freaking bad. Take Jacksonville plus the 3. Next up, Green Bay versus Chicago. Oh, the oldest rivalry in football. And the frozen tundra. Well, this one's not in the frozen tundra. This one's actually in Chi-Town. But here's the thing. What a great rivalry, Green Bay and Chicago. Yeah, it's so great. I don't remember one game that they've ever played against each other. Not one. Because Chicago no, sorry. It's just, I don't get it. If you live in Wisconsin or you live in Chicago, I'm sure you get it. Well, anyway, I like the Pack. They're 6-point chalk. Chicago's defense is legit, there's no doubt, and Justin Fields is taking steps up and he's improving, but their offense still stinks. They can't freaking score. Green Bay, all they got to do is score 3 touchdowns in this game, and there's your cover, right? Chicago's coming off an impressive win against the Raiders, but the Raiders are shit. We all know that now. Anyway, Green Bay -6, lay the lumber on the road. Next up, Baltimore versus the Chargers. This is a good matchup right here. 2 4-1 teams. This one's in Baltimore. The Ravens are 2.5-point chalk. I like the Ravens because everybody's hot on the Chargers right now. They're the trendy pick. They're the overreaction pick. That's why it's only 2.5. Otherwise, it would be 4 or 5. Baltimore is an easy winner here, and Baltimore knocks LA down a notch to 4-2. Baltimore moves on to 5-1. Take the Ravens at home. Carolina versus Minnesota. This one's in Charlotte. Minnesota's 2-3. Carolina's 3-2. Vikings are 2.5-point chalk. I like Carolina. Sam Darnold, the last 2 weeks in their only 2 losses, they started the season 3-0. Now they've lost 2 in a row because Sam Darnold started throwing interceptions all of a sudden out of nowhere. But that's not going to happen again this week. Minnesota's a good team, but I like Carolina here where everybody else would like Minnesota at only 2.5 on the road. No, I like Carolina at home to win outright, but I'll take them plus 2.5 just with a little bit of insurance. Yeah, I've got Jacksonville, I've got Carolina, and I'm taking Detroit. That's right, Detroit versus Cincinnati in Detroit. Cincinnati's 3-2, Detroit's 0-5. Detroit's never going to win. Detroit's awful. They're going to go 0-17 this year and set an all-time record. Doesn't matter, right? They don't have to win. They're 3.5-point dogs. Cincinnati ain't all of that. Detroit has the weapons to stay close and not get blown out at home. I'll take the 3.5. Kansas City, Washington, the Chiefs head into our nation's capital. Both teams are 2-3, which is the big surprise. Not that Washington's 2-3, but the fact that Kansas City's 2-3. You think Kansas City's going to drop to 2-4? Yeah, I don't either. Take Kansas City, lay the 6.5, blowout city. LA Rams at New York. They travel cross country for that early game. The Giants are 1-4. The Rams are 4-1. This is a total mismatch. The Rams are 8.5. Wow, that's a big number, especially when you travel all the way and get that early start. And the West Coast teams don't play well on the East Coast, especially with the early start. I don't give a shit. Lay the 8.5. Rams roll. Arizona versus Cleveland. Cleveland's at home, 3.5-point chalk. They're 3-2. Cleveland's tough. Cleveland's a good team. They run the ball. Baker Mayfield is good. Cliff Kingsbury, everything's working out. Cliff Kingsbury. Everything's working out for Cleveland. Sorry, I'm just kind of out of my mind a little bit right now. Cliff Kingsbury is coming in to face Cleveland with Arizona, and Kingsbury tested positive for COVID today, right? Arizona's 3.5-point dogs. They're 5-0, and Cleveland should not be 3.5-point favorites. I'm going to take Arizona even without Cliff Kingsbury. Watch Arizona win. They might rally together and win it for the coach. Take Zona plus the 3.5. Denver versus the Raiders. Denver -4 at home up in the Rocky Mountains. Both teams come in at 3-2. The Raiders are just a train wreck. Let's face it. Right now, they don't know whether they're coming or going. They hired a coach who everybody, he's just the greatest. I've never seen a coach, Mike Mayock. I've never seen a coach this great. He's the greatest guy. How come he's never coached before and no one's ever heard of him? They're in trouble. The Raiders are in serious trouble. They're 3-2. Denver, all they got to do is run the ball because the Raiders can't seem to stop the run. Denver wins. They cover the 4. Seattle heads into the ketchup bottle on Sunday night. On paper, not on paper, but with the eyes, it's a good matchup. Seattle versus Pittsburgh, rematch of the Super Bowl from 15 years ago. Pittsburgh, Seattle, two very good franchises. The problem is they've both fallen on hard times. They're both 2-3. Pitt is 5-point favorites. Is Russell Wilson worth that many points? A touchdown? Because Seattle would be favored if Russ was in this game. Let's not kid ourselves. I'm going to take Seattle. Pittsburgh can't seem to get out of their own way. I like the Seahawks. I like their defense. I'm going to take them plus the 5. Pittsburgh probably wins, but not by 6. Monday night, right down the road, 10 minutes away from where I'm sitting right now, Tennessee, Buffalo. This is a good matchup. Buffalo's 4-1. They come in as 5.5-point chalk against the 3-2 Titans. Tennessee should be 4-1, but they inexplicably lost to the Jets 2 weeks ago before they bounced back. Buffalo's good. Buffalo's strong. Offensively, they move the ball up and down the field. Defensively, they're strong. But can they slow down King Henry? Because that's what they're going to see. They're going to see King Henry, and they're going to see Ryan Tannehill with the play action. They got the strikeout and got out of the inning, so it's 3-1. Anyway, I like Tennessee. I'm going to take the 5.5 at home, and that's certainly no homer pick. So that's it. That's 11 NFL picks to go along with 14 NCAA picks. That's 25 total. Now we're going to drop a couple more on you real quick. MLB series prices for the division series. Houston -146, Boston +124. I like Houston -146. Yeah, I'm going to take the favorite. In the National League, Dodgers -220 and Atlanta +182. The Dodgers are clearly the best team. They're clearly the best team going. You want to make money, take the Dodgers. But if they lose, it's going to cost you a lot. All the value in the world is on Atlanta. And don't think for a second Atlanta doesn't remember last year. Not saying they're going to win, but I'm just saying +182 is damn good value. And I can't take the Dodgers anyway, so I'm going to take the Braves. So those are my series picks, right? I like Houston and I like Atlanta. Moving on to game ones. Today, right now, the game going on right now, Boston versus Houston. I took Boston in game 1, right? And I'm not just saying that because they're up 3-1. I took Boston +124. It was the smart move. Chris Sale, yeah, I know he struggled, but Framber Valdez, I'm sorry. You cannot sell this man to me. You just can't. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying anything that Houston does, especially Dusty Baker in the playoffs. He invents new ways to lose. I took Boston, and I still think Houston wins the series, but I liked Boston in game 1. Also in game 1 tomorrow of the NLCS, Atlanta versus the Dodgers. The Dodgers are -132, and they haven't even announced the starter yet. Their starter's a pitcher by the last name of TBD. Yeah, to be determined. They're going to probably do a bullpen start because all 3 of their pitchers have pitched the last 3 days. So they'll save them, and they'll bring in Walker Buehler in game 2, and then they'll be right back on rotation with Scherzer and Urias and all those guys. But tomorrow, they don't really have a choice. They're going to have to start a bullpen arm, where Atlanta comes out with the hottest left-handed pitcher in baseball over the second half of the season, and that's Max Fried. He's been unbelievable. He dominated game 3 of the league division series, and I like Atlanta +112 at home. Right, Fried has pitched so well. The Dodgers are probably still a little hungover, and they know that game 1's not that important. Matter of fact, they could lose both games in Atlanta over the weekend and still win the series, which is how good the Dodgers are. But I'm going to take Fried at +112. So there's 29 total picks for you. Is that enough? I mean, 29 picks. Who else is giving you 29 picks? Nobody. And your boy just dropped 29 in that ass for all of y'all. That's right. I'm looking for 17 and 12, 18 and 11. The closer we get to 20, obviously that turns into a really big week. We did have that 21 and 8 week a couple weeks ago, which just blasted everybody out of the water. But 17's just, 16. 16 and 13 is a winning week. It doesn't win much, but it's a winning week. So 29 total picks for the week. That's all I got for you. I don't know what to say. Shout out. I want to give shout outs to two guys. Sammy the produce man in Nashville and Frankie the DJ in Las Vegas. You're Dodger fans. I hate you both. I don't like anything about you, but you're my boys. I got to give you guys props, period. I hate it. It drives me nuts. But Sammy and Frankie, you guys are my shout-outs for the week. Finally, if you want to win big, you got to bet big. To me, the action is the juice. There's money on the streets that can't be ignored. And good luck to you.